All right. Again, I am a little bit late with this video. Not as late as yesterday, but I'm a little bit late with this. I felt like for this video, I wanted to talk about more on Euro vibes, maybe Vlad the Impaler and the Conquistadors. First of all, I'm gonna do this very randomly, but I am not only am I, but every historian or history buff is always impressed with what the conquistadors did. Also what the British did was very impressive. Now I do like what the British did because the British pretty much conquered United States of America and Canada along with the Indian subcontinent and many other different places in the Caribbean and whatnot. And so did the French. The French didn't do as much as the British, but the French did somewhat too. I think the French had some colonies in Africa. They had Quebec, which was Eastern Canada. They had Haiti, right? They got some colonies too, not as much as the British though, or the Spanish. You know what? I've actually been to Dominican Republic, and I will tell you that the western half of the island is called Haiti, which is French. So you have Haitians in the west, and you have French-speaking people in the west. And you have Dominican Spanish people speaking people in the east. That was when I first realized how different the systems were because it's the same island. It's one island with two halves on it, and I can see how different it was. What without being on that French half in Haiti. At the same time, I haven't been to Eastern Canada, which is Quebec, which is French speaking. But I know what it's like while being in Toronto, and I know the situation and everything. The French system is not. I mean, it's rough. It's quite rough. It's left people in a rough situation. A lot of people in these countries are not in the best of situations, right? That's what I find. Haiti is just in horrible shape and whatnot. Now, I know Montreal is a big party place and everything. I've never been there, but it's supposed to have its own thing. Anyways, let's not even get into that. But the point of that was how impressive it is how much they conquered. Now, to be fair, United States of America revolted very, very early in their history and kicked the British out. Canada was where the British loyalists went. But I mean, the British have, anyways. There's a lot we can talk about there. Let's not even get into that. But I was very okay. So yeah, so the British apparently stole a lot of the crown jewels of India, and they stole a lot of stuff from India and that Indian subcontinent. They took a lot of gold, anything worth money they took and took it back to their country. Any education that the higher class of India got or that Indian subcontinent got in London in the UK or in England, any education they got was pretty much just to support the what do you call it, the colony, or they had a word for, I don't remember, the British, I forgot what you call it. I can't believe I can't even remember the word right now, but they were basically, working for the British colony for Britain after they got educated. But let's move on. So I am very impressed with Spain because Spain was a country in Europe, and it took over entire South America and Central America as well. Even Mexico is part of North America, so they took Mexico was called New Spain. So Spain took quite a large landmass and whatnot, and I find that very impressive. I'm trying to see where I'm trying to go with this. Well, I wanted to talk more about Euro vibes, right? That was the whole point. Vlad the Impaler was quite the character. Now, when I was very young, I actually watched the movie. I think the movie came out in the late 90s or early 2000s. There was a movie on Vlad the Impaler showing him being abducted as a kid by the Ottoman Turks, going back, taking over the nobility and leading a war against the Turks from Romania. There's another movie that came out in 2015 on him, and there's just crazy amounts of folklore all over the world. Everybody remembers that man. Everybody remembers who he was. I'm trying to. What can I say? If I was to talk about Euro vibes, what could I say? I would say, just like any other vibes from any other place, they have their own pride. They have their own culture and religion and things to be proud about. Europe is a place with a lot of nations and a lot of languages, but everybody is European. If you want to call them white, we would say that they're white as well. What else can I really say about Euro vibes? I mean, it just is what it is. You know, it's whatever your homeland is to you is what Euro vibes is to me. Whatever you think when you think about your homeland or your origins, that's what I think about when I think about my Euro vibes. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I said that I would talk about Euro vibes and the conquistadors and whatnot. Well, what can we say about the conquistadors? Yeah, I gotta, Europe traveled quite a long distance. You know, they had ships that went way out and took over all that land. You know what I mean? The special thing about the conquistadors, however, was the rapid speed at which they took over that land. Okay. The British, I know that when the British and French first, there's a lot of mixed stories, but when Spain went, they kind of really villainized Cortez, claimed that he had tricked Montezuma into letting his people into his land and then kidnapping him and taking over. And I kind of don't believe that story. With the British, it's similar. They came there and they were very friendly with the natives. They asked them about the land. They got information, how to travel, how to make money on the land. And then pretty much they bought the land from them for very low money, claiming that that was a currency exchange or something like that. I don't believe that at all. But I mean, this is not about the British much. It's a little bit about, well, not really. As far as the conquistadors, when talking about these conquistadors, so that to me, that was what was amazing. Like it was always Cortez's ingenuity and bravery, that really impressed. He went to Cuba, where they had a governor, and Cuba is a very small island. So he goes to Cuba, and by the way, I've been to Cuba. It is such a scary place. I mean, yeah, it seems so safe because of how much military police there is, and how well policed it is. But I mean, it is just absolutely the most dangerous place. I mean, they will say things like, well, because tourism is their main economical or financial money earner. Like they earn their most money off of tourism. So they're very protective of tourism. They don't like visitors or vacationers to get hurt or anything like that or get screwed over. So they are very tight with that to protect that. The Cuban people will not accept anything happening to a visitor because that's going to hurt the country's budget. But it's a very tiny island. Okay, Mexico is gigantic. If you talk about landmass, Cuba is like this small on the map. Mexico is like that big, okay? So Cortez went from Cuba to Mexico, and the rumor is that he burnt all the ships that were there so that no man would ever think about leaving and going back, no matter how scary it was. They had really small numbers. They always discredited, they had guns, they had muskets, and the natives did and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, like they went with small numbers, man, but they were really strong, man. I mean, these guys, they conquered all of Mexico, and when the conquistadors saw how much success Cortez had, they all started doing their own expeditions, man. Even the Portuguese did Brazil, they just started doing expeditions and they took over all of Latin America. I like those stories because it makes me feel like Latin people are very strong. The funny thing is, so as far as I know, Romania wasn't colonizing anything, right? Romania is not colonizing anything. It's really, that's why I love Romania. I absolutely love Romania because when I think about Romania, when I think of it as a homeland to pay homage to, I always think about Vlad the Impaler in the 1400s. And I think about even in the 1400s. I mean, it was basically a war zone. You know, there's a lot of war over there. There's a lot of there's just a lot of land with no cities. You know, a lot of just rolling countrysides kind of thing. You know, lots of farmland and empty countrysides and places of war. And you know, since the time of Vlad the Impaler to today, I mean, Romania is, to me, as far as I know, people will say, no, someone might argue, oh, they have a high population or whatever. I feel like there's not a high population. There's not a lot of people living in Romania. Romania is a very empty place, you know, which made it ideal for Vlad Dracula's castle, you know, and to lead these armies to fight the Ottoman Turks. It's just, Romania is such a unique place. It's just, you know, it's just a beautiful place. Since that time, it's been 600 years, and you know, it's empty. There's not that many people around, but it's still a beautiful place to me, and I really do think it's a nice place. They didn't colonize, right? But they're not that active. I mean, Romania is not active. Like there is some of Europe that's just pretty much not really that active. But you got, I mean, Spain and England and France, these are super active countries. There's just so much business and vacationing and travel going on. It's just insane. You know, I mean, so Spain all these countries did colonize and they got something out of it and everything. That's it. I got nothing else to say. That is what it is. I know my videos are getting kind of bland lately, but that's because I think I just overshot and put on some really active, powerful videos, and that, you know, now it's time to kind of take it easy a bit. But it's not even that I'm, you know, but I know they're getting a bit bland. But there's still a chance that, you know, I might get that going again, get my mind going again, and talk about more interesting stuff. Anyways, for now I'm done, and that's it.